Gotta say welcome, Mark. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, welcome to Walkie Talkie. Go. Hello. Oh, you don't want me loud, do you? We'll cut that bit out straight out of the gate.
Yeah, I said keep that.
Yeah, level. Not even straight up there. Welcome to Walkie Talkie. Today we have a very special guest.
Hey, steady on.
Very special. I'd like to have a bit of a build-up, like the founder of the Mancave.
Guess you could say that, yeah.
Advocate for men's mental health.
100% accurate.
I think we need a third one. What are you good at?
Devilishly handsome.
Yeah, and there was
20 years ago,
I can't
maybe.
say that, so we'll just say handsome. Yeah, Stu Burman. Thank you for coming on, Stu.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Well, there's a few things to talk about in there, but where do we start? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
44 next week. Dad of 3. Granddad as well. As of last year.
Congratulations.
So, thanks, mate. Yeah, in all sorts of fitness and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I see you recently got back into the old gym.
Back into the gym about 10 weeks ago now.
Yeah, still loving it?
Loving it, mate.
Yeah.
Stoning a bit down, so
Awesome.
yeah, it's all good.
Especially through December, done well.
Mate, yeah, it's been pretty strict to be fair. So
Is it? Yeah.
yeah, trying to keep it as tight as possible.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say I'm there with you, mate. But no, I've had the whole of December off, and stone and a half year lost. I probably found. So, but yeah, I'll get back to it soon. But, yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, carry on.
No, that's all good, mate. Obviously, you know a bit about my back. Been through the mill a bit with the old mental health, this kind of stuff. Work in a very hard to break environment in that respect. Work in the oil and gas industry, so trying to talk about mental health and things like that.
A lot of alpha males in the offshore.
100%, 100. It's getting easier. It is getting easier. They've now made me mental health champion, well-being champion where I work. Cool. They've now rolled that out to the whole of the UK for the company that I work for. Yeah. Looking to roll it out kind of Middle East and things like this as well. Australia, where we've got bases as well. So
superb.
Yeah, that's in the pipeline hopefully. So
excuse the pun.
But yeah, it's been a tough ride since 2016 when I had my back surgery. Things like this, things went a bit downhill after that. PTSD, depression, anxiety kicked in 3.5 years ago. Wanted to just end things. Lost my marriage, things like this because of mental health. Found a fantastic person since then. A lot more involved with my children now, which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, they my son's here with me today, but he knows my full story.
Yeah.
I've never hidden it from my children. That's part of what's made me a better person, a better dad.
And in turn, mate, I think it'll also make the kids better adults growing up, because I think if we, certain things we like to protect our children from, but I think also there's real important things, especially in this day and age, like you say, with the stigma around especially men's mental health. I think that's a real important thing to instill into children, so that then they're sort of semi-prepared for that in the events of things like that happening to them as they get older, Yeah. They don't think, oh, this is weird, like it never happened to my dad or anyone I know.
Yeah.
Like, they've got a bit of sort of lived-in experience of seeing someone else go through it. So.
Definitely.
Yeah. So one thing is always, I always get with what I do, and I'm sure you get this all the time, but I'm quite interested, is people always ask, what made you start the Mancave?
My main reason was to help men not become a statistic to suicide. I was literally, I'll tell you what happened. One morning, early hours of the morning, I knew I didn't want to be here anymore. And I sat in Galston with Lloyd's Bank to my left. I took my seatbelt off in my car, and I was going to drive through the shops at the end of the road at Baker Street. That was how I was going to end things. And I don't know what happened, but my phone was on the passenger seat of the car. And nobody rang me, nobody texted me, but my phone lit up. And there was a picture of my kids. And that was like it was a sign from the heavens.
Yeah.
And I put my seatbelt back on, and I turned right, and I went and sat up the beach. and that is always my safe place.
Yeah.
And I managed to get some help from the Northgate crisis team. They kind of took me under their wing. I managed to get some weekly counselling sessions for about 6 months, luckily.
Yeah.
That was when the system wasn't so broken.
Because we all know how hard that is now.
Yeah, I was very, very lucky. And then 2 years ago, I'd had the idea to set the group up for a while, but I wasn't in the right headspace. I knew I couldn't be help to anybody else if I wasn't good in my own head. And about 2 years ago, I knew I was. And that was it. I just made a really, really basic kind of logo to set the group up. And it kind of just ran from there. And I think it was about 6 months in, I kind of rebranded it a little bit, made it look a little bit more professional because people were really joining at quite a rapid pace.
Yeah.
And it's just snowballed, mate.
Yeah.
But that was the main reason, really, and to obviously break this stigma surrounding men's mental health.
Yeah.
Because it just sucks, and it's not getting any better.
No, I agree. Well, I say that. I definitely agree. I'd say it's not getting any easier, but I would say it's getting slightly better. I'll never want to blow another man's trumpet, but for groups like yours, do you know what I mean? Because I can see, as an outsider looking in, obviously I've been on your group now for probably, I think you're about 3 or 4 months in when I first joined.
Yeah.
And obviously, everyone's got a busy life, but I'm more of a bystander than I am a contributor. And I've engaged quite a few people on there, and 99% of it's been really good. But you can also see now that you've got a couple of years under your belt how so many people have progressed.
Yeah.
And a bit similar to what we do is part of something that I never thought I would actually, how it would play out is the people who you try to help from day one then become the people who help the people from week 2.
Yeah.
And then people help people from week 4. When you're 2 years in, you've especially on your page, you built up like an army of help, And as much as, again, I see this on your page, and I occasionally get it. It's like, well, who's the professional giving the advice?
Yeah.
And I don't know how you feel, but from my point of view is like, where were the professionals 2 years ago? If the professionals were all stood in front of us, groups like yours and mine wouldn't have to be here.
That's it.
And I mean, even again, you probably find the same. I had someone this week come to us, and I just said, where did you hear about us? And they weren't the first person to say, I'm a doctor, give me your details. Yeah. And I think within the last 2 weeks, we've had someone come from the James Paget Hospital, where they've gone in to see the crisis team, and they've gone, there's a group locally, give them a shout, which is fantastic. I'm not knocking it, but you think, well, we're there to kind of try to right all them wrongs. All these, the government and hospitals and stuff should have something in place, or personally, I think should approach people who set stuff up like us and say, well, and I'm not knocking them because they're pushed to the limits as it is.
Oh, definitely,
but there should be a thing there where they say, well, we'll, offer some training or support, so you've got that under your belt. But I personally feel, I think lived-in experience is probably the best qualification for helping anybody else.
Yeah, we actually had that in the group this week. There was a little bit of not an argument, it was a strongly worded comment, basically saying that the group needs, or we would like, mental health professionals involved. But we've now hit just over 6,000 guys in the group. And if you were to offer mental health support to that amount of people in one group, the NHS wouldn't be in the situation that's in, because it would be able to cope with that amount of people, because the professionals in the NHS, they're a hell of a lot more than probably 4 or 5 that would be in my group.
Yeah.
Same with if you were to have it in your group, it's just not feasible, because one of the big things in the group as well is financial stress.
Yeah.
Private counselling, I've had it myself, £70 an hour. It was insane.
Yeah.
And people just
it's not
£70
viable
an hour.
to say to someone, I know you're struggling, but if you go to work for an hour, you'll be able to have 5 minutes with a counsellor to tell you what you're doing wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it from day one, Mark, and you're probably the same. My group isn't a counselling session.
No.
We're not trained professionals. No. We are a support group.
Yeah.
Everybody's advice is from their own lived experience. It's the same with like medication and things. If someone starts chatting about medication,
Yeah.
I will be the first person on there to turn around and say, any medication, go chat with your GP or pharmacist.
Yeah.
But this is what happened when I took it.
I was then going to say, on the same note,
Yeah.
and 100% wholeheartedly agree with you there. I would never give anyone advice on, advice as in, you should be on these tablets. Yeah. You should have this, this is what you should be doing. But I think it's a lot better to go to your doctor and say, not I've Googled my symptoms, but I've spoken to some chaps who feel and have the same symptoms of what I'm feeling. Yeah. And they've tried these different tablets. Yeah. What's your opinion? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I had 4 different sorts of antidepressants. Yeah. 2 of them didn't work at all. They gave me stomach cramps, things like this. Yeah. 1 was actually found out that it was making me 10 times worse. Yeah. And then the last one that I finally ended up on, a bit further down the line, was the one that really, really worked for me. Yeah. Yeah. And other guys have said similar things.
I can agree with that, mate. I was backwards and forwards to the doctors for 20 years. I remember going to the doctors, not trying to cut in, but and he had me on all types. And you do get to that stage where you think, well, nothing's working. Yeah. They work for other people. Maybe it's just me. Yeah. And then I actually had a really good doctor, family doctor, since I was a kid. So he knew everything about me. He knew every symptom, everything that I'd ever had wrong with me. And he couldn't crack the code. Yeah. When he retired, bless him, a new doctor, I remember walking in and thinking, this chap looks like he's about 25. What's he going to know? He went, I think you should try these. And I reckon, all joking aside, within a week, that was like a total life changer.
Really?
Total. Like where I'd normally fly off the handle for the most randomest thing, now something really, really, where you just
where you chill.
Really, so much chill, and things not even chill to the point where it just don't bother you anymore. Yeah. You're just like, well, which is how you should be, and that, like not a care in the world, but things that are out of your control.
This is the big thing for me is the control thing. React to what you can control, and not anything else. It's wasted headspace, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with that. Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, the medication one, that's a big talking point all the time. Yeah. In the group, it's I'm sure it is in yours too. But
yeah, I've seen it pop up.
Yeah, it's you've got to tell people, go and chat with your GP. But this is a side effect that I got. Somebody else, well, I never got that side effect, but I got this one. Yeah. Medication works differently for everybody because everybody is different. Yeah. And that's the simple way to just chat about it, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. How are you finding with the group generally now as it's growing? I know in the last couple of weeks you've had a bit of an issue, but
it's been a tough couple of weeks, but I think with massive growth like that, I think it was just under 2,800 people in like 10 days.
It's going to be
a time of year, things like this, people find December, January incredibly
really
hard. But yeah, it's leveling out. Yeah. Everybody who joins my group, they answer the same 3 questions. I then vet the profile, and I've now taken on another admin this week, a guy called Mike Valentine. He's got all the same sort of passion for it as what I have, shares all the same futures and things like this of where the group wants to go. But he's now helping me sort of moderate things, and I go through everyone's profile, make sure they're male, just check out what they've been posting in the past. If they meet the criteria, they get approved. Yeah. But you can't tell what someone's going to be like until they make the first post or make their first comment. Yeah. And unfortunately, there has been a few trolls. There's been a few scammers. But with that amount of people in one place, you're going to get someone chance their arm. Of course you are. Yeah. But that's where I have to rely on some of the guys as well to report the posts, because now it's gone from, say, 130 posts a week. I think we had 1,400 posts or something last week. Yeah. It's just gone crazy. Yeah. So you've just got to rely on your guys that have been there from, day dot kind of thing. Yeah. That's where the real, nucleus is, if you like. Yeah. And everybody else now is learning how the group flows.
Yeah. And it's good in that aspect of, even without knowing, and when you set the group up, you obviously weren't expecting it to go that way, but that kind of brings the group together. Yeah. And the people who wouldn't normally step out of shadows will be like, well, hang on a minute, I've been part of this group for ages, this isn't right, I'll let Stu know, and that gets everyone in contact with each other, and exactly which is the main point of the group, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I set the group up, Mark, to help one person. That's obviously helped a lot more people than that now.
Yeah.
But the great thing about the group is when I first started, I had to jump into everything first. So I was all through the night, all through the day, jumping on everything. But now we've got guys in 22 countries.
Yeah.
So when we're asleep over here, there's guys New Zealand who are wide awake, and they're answering people's comments who may have insomnia or struggling throughout the night over here.
Yeah. Or, in fact, another guy in New Zealand, because it might be 10 o'clock in the morning to him.
Exactly.
And the other guy, but to everyone here, like,
so
say everyone's
that
asleep.
thing now is just, you don't need one person just focusing their whole existence on answering everything that comes in. It's just snowballed, and this is why I keep using the word brotherhood. Yeah. You've got each other's backs.
Yeah, yeah.
And you've got that very much in your group as well.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the whole ethos of,
when
any of them
when you
men's
see
groups.
when you know, I've been on a couple of walks with you, and things like this, and just the way that the guys just walk down, they're chatting and they're laughing. Someone's putting an arm around someone.
Like for 20 years.
Yeah, and they've known each other just a few months.
Yeah, some of them have met that day.
It's fantastic. It really is, because men need that.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
Men really, really need that. And this is what I keep. You made the perfect point a little while ago about the NHS pushing onto groups like ours. Yeah. If we had more groups, this stigma, this trouble is going to go away. Yeah. Like my son's age, he's 13. This is the kind of age group I feel that needs to be spoken about in schools
100%.
and things like this, because if you think about it, these guys are going to be the next ones in line, going out to work, running the country, doing this, that, the other. Yeah. That stigma won't exist if it started at a young age. That stigma goes away. Yeah. Me and you, we've grown up with like our dads, granddads, things like this. They never spoke about mental health. It was like such a taboo. It didn't exist. Yeah. You went to work, you earned your money, you came home.
Went to the pub.
You went to the pub, that's it. Yeah. And then you did it all again the following week. Yeah. It wasn't ever spoken about. I mean, my dad's been a scaffolder since he's like 13 years old. Tough as nails. Yeah. Military family. His dad was in the Navy. Military family. He was tough as old boots for my old man. My old man brought me up the same way. Yeah. But since I've gone through what I've gone through, my dad's unfortunately had lung cancer for the last 5 years. He has become a completely different guy. Because he understands now. He's seen his son go through this. Yeah. And he now understands. And my son's the same with me. He's seen me go through this. He understands. Yeah. And this is where now, like, my son will come to me, Dad, I need to talk to you about something. I'm feeling a bit anxious today. Yeah. And things like this. And that for me to see him able to do that as well.
Yeah, it's good.
We're doing something right,
mate. Yeah, 100%.
We really are, because I'm sure your boys are the same.
Yeah,
they will talk about their issues because they know you will. Yeah. That's what you said earlier. Yeah. And that just feeds down the line.
It does, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, as a chain reaction. And I agree with you, mate. I think that's really important. One of the things I got asked when I'd started Walk and Talk only a few weeks, said, can you start one for, youngsters? Yeah. Maybe like kids, but like, certainly teenagers. Yeah. And I said, I'd love to, but I'd love to, help every sort of demographic, but that isn't, unfortunately, something I've got the time to do. But in the future, something I'd always known I'd wanted to do was do a bit more of, whether it's talking in schools or getting groups together, or, helping somebody else set a group up for that. Even similar page to yours, but for strictly, maybe, 13 to 18-year-olds. Yeah. But again, there's so much red tape, even with our walks. That's why generally we're over 18s. Yeah. So we don't have that red tape then. We don't have that issue. But I agree with, that's something that definitely needs addressing. Definitely. Because I think prevention's better than the cure.
100%.
And with a great, a bit strange, I know, but I'd like to think as the next generations come through, then groups like yours and ours won't have to exist. Yeah. As much as I'm sure you can relate, you feel like you've got, it's like a baby, isn't it? And you think, that'd be great to watch it grow and grow and grow. But in all fairness, you really want it to not grow. You want it to get to the point where, I'd love to be able to get to the point where I turn up to a walk and there's nobody else there but me.
Yeah.
But not for the reason that no one's bothered
Yeah.
to come, but for the reason that nobody needs that support.
it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Not that I can see that day happening anytime soon,
No.
mate. But
No.
yeah, we can all hope. We can all hope.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Mm.
It is a tough one.
Yeah. So you say obviously you're invited, and I know we're invited. I'll be honest with you, I'm a bit nervous. I don't normally get nervous, but about going to this mental health evening, Norwich City Football Ground. Is it the 20?
I thought it was the 25th, but could
Might
be the
25th,
23rd.
could be the
27th.
Maybe we can. I'm speaking to our editor, maybe we can put the correct date in the bottom there, in the link or something. Maybe it's simple enough, isn't it? Maybe like a logo, like a little short video explain it. Yeah, but obviously you went last year, so was it good?
Awesome.
Was it? Yeah.
Really, really good night.
Made
They
some
had
good contacts.
I mean, just the email that they send you when you see your group's logo in with people like Mind and Men's Craft and the NHS.
Yeah, I got that email.
It's awesome. That really showed me that the group's
working,
doing things.
Yeah.
And
just to be invited, I think it's quite again.
There's some big names in this kind of field.
Yeah.
On that poster, and to just like you say, just to have the association with that and Norwich City Football Club as well. That video that Norwich City Football Club done for mental health. I'm so glad to be associated with a football club who's going to put something like that out into the world.
Yeah. I will say that's a fantastic.
That's
video.
one of the best videos for mental health I've ever seen,
if not the best.
Yeah, definitely.
And I hate to say it because we've done our own videos and stuff, but I thought it was really
that
captivating.
was so simple.
Yeah, but so
it
effective.
It was. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I sat there bawling my eyes out watching that.
Yeah.
I really did. That was so emotional. Yeah. But it's so true.
Yeah. And how I hate to think how many times that was viewed, but I think even in the first week that was up there.
I think that's one of the top viewed kind of videos in that kind of thing with that kind of thing involved. Yeah. I'm sure I read that somewhere. But no, it's basically what I think it's from like 7 till 10 the evening is. But you've all got your own individual tables set out round the room.
Yeah.
And Joe Public come in and they sit, and then there's a big sort of conference as well. It's Darren Eady, who's one of the ex-Norwich players, and then last year they had the current goalkeeper and one of the players as well.
Yeah.
Both talking about mental health in sports and things like this.
Yeah.
And then they had, I think it was one of the team's sort of psychologists there as well last year. And I think there's another one of those going to be there this year as well.
Cool.
So it's normally just a couple of people from the club, present and past as well.
They're mainly the public coming around, and
and there was a couple of sort of medical professionals there as well doing a talk.
Yeah.
But basically everyone from the tables and the public can just go to the other end of the room, and that's where they have the stage set up, and they do this talk for an hour or so, and then you have another back at your table for another hour or so at the end of the night.
Cool.
But it's normally just people come up, just chatting, what do you do, and this, that, and it's really informative, because you can get to go around to all the other tables as well and see sort of Men's Craft. I love Men's Craft. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, that reminds me, I've got to drop them an email today, because I really like the guys at Men's Craft, and I met the guy the other week who they do a bit of a men's stand-up comedy. Yeah. And I'd like to try to get them involved in the event we're doing. I think that's really important. The guys, real good positive vibes.
Yeah, they really are. I actually nearly had a job with Men's Craft.
It's all right, yeah.
But I passed all the interviews, everything. I got offered the position, but then the funding fell through. So it was going to be a funded position. Yeah. But the funding unfortunately fell through. Yeah. But that was where I really wanted to sort of go in career direction. But
that would have been cool, mate.
Yeah, unfortunately it fell through.
Yeah. So see, you're it's a real difficult. How do you put it? With your group, I see one of the other things that pops up a lot is doing face-to-face meets. Yeah. Now, one thing I will say about not only what we do, but like you say, Men's Craft and all them, the thing that really I love about the whole men's mental health thing is there's no such thing as competition. It's not like, you open a sports shop up and then someone's going to open up a sports shop next door. You'd be like, oh, it's competition. There's no competition. Everyone sort of piles in and helps each other. How are you thinking of? I see a couple of things popped up, and straight away I thought, the one that comes to my mind is Andy's Man's Club, which is probably the biggest in the country at the minute, and doing fantastic things. And they're everywhere, apart from here, randomly. Yeah. They do their meeting, like, I think it's at 7 o'clock on a Monday, but at all these different places through the UK. Yeah. And I thought, yours, like you say, 22 countries is because you don't want anyone sort of losing out. But on the same note, it's like, well, you can't really organise.
That's right.
Is a plan to start sort of small and
anybody, and I've said this from day one, or ever since me and you have been in contact as well. Anybody who wants to do a walk around here, they're coming to your group. They're coming on your walks. I'm never going to tread on any toes around this area. No. I love the way that your walks are set up. Yeah, and I think that's embedded in the Galston Great Yarmouth area now.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And I like coming on your walks as well when I get the time. Obviously, I have my boys every other weekend, so I can. And unfortunately, your walks fall on the weekends. I have my boys.
Yeah, of course.
So I can't attend too many of them. But what I'd like to do is try and get the counties around the country, just in the UK, where we've got guys, and just try and arrange one kind of meet up a month in all these different counties, so it gives people a chance to get to walk in the area where they live. Yeah. And then what I'd like to do in the summer, or when it's warmer at least, is try and do a northern and a southern walk. Yeah, so just to try and get everybody.
Yeah, that's cool.
But like I say,
and then I suppose again, if how well attended they are, you can have someone, like you say, in one of the counties. If they go, blimey, I'm getting crazy numbers, then you can start separating it, and 2 or 3 in that county in different areas, going to appeal to more.
That's it. I mean, walks never were something that were going to be on my agenda.
They weren't on mine either.
It's purely I wanted to give men that, because of the stigma surrounding it, things like this, I wanted to give someone the chance to be able to talk and not be afraid of what the other person standing in front of them is going to think. Yeah, that's another reason why I put the anonymous posting on my group.
I was going to get to that
purely because people haven't got the courage, and they don't want people knowing that they're going through this as a man. Sometimes, of
course,
and there's someone that they might know might be in the group as well. They don't want. Oh, you're suffering with depression. What's the matter with you? Man up, and all that crap that comes out.
I've got a little bit of a lived-in experience with that. So somebody I know had a similar issue, and they came to our group, and quite rightly so, like your group, the rules are whatever's said in the group stays in the group. Yeah. I know sometimes maybe things not slip out, but you think you're helping somebody saying, "Oh, I met a chap the other day, and his name's so and so," but you never know that person might know him, and they might not want them known. Yeah. So generally we say, don't. But somebody I know who was on the group had an issue, and he'd spoke to someone else in the group, and then that person saw his partner at the school and said, "Oh, I haven't seen so-and-so for ages, how's he getting on with," and mentioned the issue. Yeah. While his child was stood there. Now, like, he didn't do it with any malice or didn't really even think, but, like, that hit the lad quite hard, which I can totally agree with, And with your group, the anonymous thing, I'd see a lot of people on there argue, "Oh, we should ban anyone who's anonymous." Well, not really, because the whole point of the group is to give people a voice who feel like they're not being heard. Yeah. But that doesn't mean to say they've got to put their whole self out there and say, "You can attack me, this is who I am, and this is my views." Because some people's have got, yourself, mate, some people, what you see on your group and what I see in my group is really only a minute part of what people...
Not even scratch the surface.
I hate to say it, if people saw the inboxes you get and the inboxes I get, they can be like, all jokes are like horror stories, and I proper feel for these guys. And if someone said to me, and if I had a group like yours and said, I'd post, and I know full well there's 6,000 people in there. There's easy a good few hundred people or 1,000 people in there who will have good advice and be able to reassure that chap and support him. Yeah. But if he can't put in there anonymously, then he's not going to get that help.
Yeah, that's it.
So he's not going to progress. Yeah. But if he did get that help, if he was anonymous, I guarantee within 6 months, when the next man who posts anonymous with that issue, he'll be the first to jump in and go, "I'm Dave. I've been through this," because he knows he's come through it. He's come out the other side. The guys in the group have given that support and help, and there's no need to be anonymous.
This is one of the most amazing things, though, about that side of things, is when these guys start off and they start to tell their story as an anonymous.
Yeah.
And then 6 months down the line, like you now say, they're just their profile pictures there. You can see who I am. You know, you boys have helped me through this. You boys stopped me jumping in front of a train.
All joking aside, I never liked the phrase myself, a safe space.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's just never really been the words. I don't know. It's not a case of, you know, trying to be an alpha male but a safe space to me sounds a little bit towards negative. Yeah. So, and I always like to stay positive. But I think with that is a safe space where someone gets to the point where they can, like you say, quite openly. Yeah. One of the guys we had on a podcast, Ray, I don't know if you know Ray, comes to our walks. Naughty Ray, fantastic bloke. Loads of lived in experience in life, real positive chap. And he said to a couple of our members before, when they've come out of their shells, he said, the beauty of this group is you can unapologetically be yourself. Yeah. Which is correct. Yeah. Doesn't matter what issues you've got, what's happened to you in the past, you know, where you are at this moment in time in life, nobody judges you for it. Yeah. And it's the same with your group. That's how it should be, 100%. Yeah. Like you said, I know you get the odd person slip through the net, but especially with obviously new guys as well, that gives you, because you can't, I've got to say, one thing that really gets to me is, and I've been that person, when you're on a page or a group, it can be a selling page or anything, and you think, oh, what's all this crap on here, spam or whatever, and you go, where are the admins? Not really realising. Yeah. But of course, like, you've been running up 2 years. How much you get paid? Nothing. There's no like. As literally for the love. Yeah. You think that's a 24-hour job. Yeah. I'm sure you didn't think when you started that page, and I never thought when I started my page. You get messages at 3 a.m. Yeah. I know there'd be people having problems, but because of the nature of it, you can't. It's really hard to switch off, isn't it? Yeah. You're on it all the time. But again, when you're with the kids or you're at work, you've got to find that happy medium.
Oh, definitely.
And with someone else helping, that will definitely take the pressure off. But I don't think people genuinely realise, not that you want a pat on the back or a medal for what you do, the same as I don't. But I think a little bit of understanding goes a long way, where people think, well, actually, you know, there might be something I don't agree with. I can just scroll by, or I can just block that one person, because that isn't going to affect. If you've got 6,000 people trying to give you advice, if you block one person, 5,999 still are going to give you advice.
That's it.
That is a real difficult situation.
It is, yeah. And
I think the only way to battle that as well, for your own sanity, mate, is exactly what you're doing. Yeah. Which is something else I was then going to get onto, is how difficult is it to give somebody else that, what's the phrase? That, it's like handing someone your child, and that whole authority over your page. Yeah. Whether it be moderator or you know, admin or whatever, because, and like you said, I'm sure Mike's. I can't say I've spoke to Mike, but if you've chose him, he's going to, out of all them people, he's going to be good. Yeah. 100%. But it's still not an easy thing to do.
It's not an easy thing to do. I always said, Mark, this wouldn't go anywhere. Yeah. I just put it out there to just try and help. Yeah. I never thought it would be 100, 500, or 1,000 people.
Let alone 6,000.
And it's spiraled.
Well, like I said to you the other day, what are you got doing to get 100,000?
Exactly. Yeah. But I got to the point where I kind of said to everyone, whoever talks to me about the group, I'm going to get to 5,000, and I'm going to take on at least one more moderator, admin, you know, whatever. But my problem was numbers 4,000, 5,000, and 6,000 happened in like less than a week. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, what do I do? And you saw my post in the group, you know, we need more admins. People kept saying, this is getting out of control now. You're not going to get any sleep. Yeah. I mean, I work 40 hours a week. I'm probably putting 40 hours a week into the group. I have my kids, you know.
Yeah, when you go home tonight, get your phone out,
you know, I've got my family man,
Have a look how many hours you're on your phone, you'd be shocked. Like, I remember when we done Winner, I used to say to people, that's really hard, because I do like 30 or 40 hours a week. I was doing like 70 or 80 hours a week. Just because you're on your phone. Because you don't even think. You think, I'm just replying, but it isn't. That's doing posts. Yeah. That's, like you said, letting people in the group. That's it. Answering inboxes. Yeah. As well as talking to people face to face, doing podcasts. Yeah, that's... I better get some flyers printed. Get some flyers. Like, just...
That's the thing. That's like people think, you know, you just got to answer the comments in the group. 370 messages in my messenger last week. Just in a week.
I know, that's right, yeah.
You know, and you've got to reply to all those, and I will reply to all of those.
Yeah.
I have done, you know, and...
But when I used to always say as well, is it's not even that, is it? It's not 370 messages. You think, that's not 370 messages, but it's not, because someone asks a question, you reply, they then reply back.
Yeah.
There's another 370.
And the thing is, it's 370 different messages.
Yeah.
That you've got to think of what they're talking about. You've got to think of a decent reply to that.
How you can help them, how you can signpost them, how you can... Yeah.
You know, it's not easy. And up until 4 days ago, I was doing this by myself.
Yeah, everything.
You know, and it's bloody hard.
Yeah.
It is bloody hard.
No,
But to be fair, there's been so many people who have been reaching out saying, are you okay? Don't let this, you know, overtake your life.
Yeah.
Are you, 'cause obviously I've been through shit.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yeah.
But doing this is helping me.
Yeah.
Because it gives my mind focus. It gives me... I'm so passionate about doing this.
Yeah.
And...
Oh, you can see that, mate. Definitely in the group.
That's something that really matters to me.
Yeah.
I've not really got, other than the gym and my running and things like this, I've not really got many hobbies. This is something that...
You really take an interest in.
My mind is fully invested in it.
Yeah.
Which is where, with PTSD and things like this is where my mind needs to be.
Yeah.
My mind needs to be busy, because with things like that, it can just switch in an instant, and I'm never going back to where I was, ever.
There's no taking your foot off the gas with it either.
Definitely
it's
not.
Not like, I know, I saw your post the other day, and you could see the, you know, how heartfelt it was, and
was that the video one?
The video one, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you thought you never say the words, you know, I'm gonna have to maybe look at, not taking the page down, but like doing something.
Yeah.
But you do get to that point, and. You know, I've been in a lot of different businesses where I've got to that point and had to call things a day. It's never an easy moment at all, because you put 110% into the things, and you know, if something doesn't work and you have to cut it loose, then it has to. But with something like this, you think it's not like you're closing a shop.
Yeah.
You can't. How can I put it? You can't sort of like just, because it feels like now you've got 6,000 people who are all, you know, as much as I don't like to say it, our group. I might be the person who, the daft one who started the group, but I don't consider it my group. Yeah. I consider it as everyone's group.
Yeah.
Because if nobody turned up other than me, there wouldn't be a group.
You know, you'll always hear me say our group. You know,
our group, exactly like you said, the brotherhood. But you think the amount of sort of pressure with everyone's not responsibilities, and it's not that it's all on you.
People rely on you.
People rely on you. People look to you for not the answer, but for that support.
Yeah.
And I think so many people in life, especially men who have suffered from mental health, all stems a lot of it from, you know, being let down. Yeah. Whether it be a partner, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be, you know, been at a job for 20 years and then just sacked, or, you know, whether their body's let them down and they didn't get that, you know, to be a champion golfer or whatever. So they do kind of like look up to you as...
Of course they do.
Not the Messiah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they do. And it's hard because you get to that point of like... And I could see it in your face like that. I'm getting all this grief. Yeah. And I could literally just go, stop my own grief, flick the switch, turn it off. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't have to stop there and then.
You do definitely get to that stage, but
you could see as well in your face, mate. It's like you can't do it, can you? Because you've got all them people.
When I was filming that, all I could see was the hours I've spent sitting with people on the other end of the phone. They've put the post in the group saying tonight's going to be my last night here, and I've worked a 10-hour shift at work that day. I've then sat from say 9 o'clock at night when they've posted that through till 6 in the morning, making sure they're not going to do anything stupid. There's been evenings where I've called ambulance for people. Yeah, I've had
in different countries. I remember messaging you about a chap on there one night and saying, "God, you know, it's difficult to say it, but there's even people who put that out as like a last cry for help. Yeah, and there's people who put it out not weekly, but because that's how they feel, that's how they express themselves. And it's really hard to pick between the two who really need that help and who don't. And I remember seeing a post thinking, Christ, that chap doesn't sound in a good way, blah, blah. And I remember messaging and you said, I'm on it. I'm trying to get an ambulance. The problem is he was like in Australia or something. Right? He's like in a totally different country. Yeah. But and thankfully he was okay.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But that's how. I bet when you started the group, you never thought
Never.
I'm going to be trying to ring up an ambulance service in Australia and saying I don't know this chap. I don't. You know, I've only spoken to him on my page, but I think he desperately needs some help.
There was a guy down in Devon as well. I'm obviously not going to give any names, but there's a guy down in Devon, and it was such vague messages, and he was in such a bad way. He was just 2 or 3 word answers. Managed to find out the town, and I got in touch with his local police station, and they managed on their system. They had that telephone number and an address. And they sent an officer around there, and they could see him through the window with a razor blade to his wrist. They kicked the door down, and the following day, his wife phoned me with their kids from the hospital saying he was okay, and he was then getting the help that he needed. And to have that, that got me through that video. It's because this group isn't going anywhere, no matter how hard it gets.
Yeah,
I've been at the stage, Mark, where I nearly lost the ability to walk. You know, in 2016.
Yeah.
And to have something like that nearly taken away from me, I'm not going to take this place, this support network, this brotherhood that we've got away from people who actually need it. Yeah. There's no way. The trolls can come, the scammers can come. Yeah. You know, they can come as hard and thick and fast as they want to. Yeah. But they're not going to beat us.
I did see a couple of comments, and I think I even put a comment on there similar when it was, you know, turned, because I've had quite a bit of an experience with obviously social media and with positive and negative sides, and I'm sure Chris will back me up on this. Even when we had winner, because that's a totally different kettle of fish, but you'd always get the negative people. And I used to take, I'm a bit weird. I used to take it as a challenge to turn the haters, if you like, into fans. Yeah. And I always managed to pull people round and, you know, see things from their point of view and blah blah. But I also knew when to put a post up and when to take one down, because sometimes you put up and other people would come to your defence, but with not as putting things in a diplomatic way, really aggressive, which would put the other people's back up. Yeah. So people then defend them because they thought they were, before you know it, you've got all these people arguing. They don't really know what they're arguing about. Then when you take that post down, you then get the post up of, oh, I put a post on here and blah, 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 and it all kicks off again. Or you get the one saying, I'm really sorry, which is great, but then other people start apologising. People was turned a bit... That you, like you said, that can get blocked up with all these posts. You just want it to cut off and finish. Yeah. And a couple of people, that's what I was trying to get to, is I'd seen it put on there, since the page had gone a little bit off rails, let's get back on track. Yeah. And can someone help me with this? Or has anyone got any good jokes? Or something? Tell me something positive. Do you know what I mean? And get it back onto. Yeah. And that's what you've got with all them people. Is that army of people that will hopefully, like you said, beat the trolls. Well, there's no hopefully about it. There's, you know, evil never wins over good anyway. You've got enough people there to say, Stu, this person's a troll. Yeah. Like, you know, you might be at work, or Mike, whoever will see it. And as you grow, I get to 10,000 people. I see you got somebody else, I think, joining you in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Yeah. So you'll just have to keep building up that side of it. And, eventually, mate, that will...
it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's like I said in a post the other day. There's now so many new personalities, so many different senses of humour, different egos. But more importantly, so many new people who are at different stages of their journey. And the 22 countries.
The one thing you haven't even thought about is totally different cultures.
Language barriers. Things like, you know, understanding humour. Things like this. But you know, when for me, I didn't start my journey until I'd accepted what I was going through. My PTSD, my depression, my anxiety. You know, I'd say I pretty much kicked the depression. Yeah. But the anxiety's still there. Nowhere near as bad as it was. Yeah. But the PTSD will be with me for the rest of my days. I know that. I now incorporate that into my everyday. I had to accept that because that was what was...
holding you back.
Yeah. I weren't going anywhere until I'd said to myself, right, you're going to have this forever. You know, you now have to find a way to use this as a positive force every day rather than a negative. Yeah. So that's what I do. You know, that is part of who I am. It's part of my tapestry now. Yeah. I can't change it. There's no magic pill. There's no quick fix. No. It's not going to go away. No, you can't. You can't change any of it. All you can do is live every day for what it is. Yeah. And this is what I'll say it on here as well. My favourite quote: "If nothing changes, then nothing changes." Yeah. And if you want to sit there and just be okay with what you're going through and just sit at home and not do anything, then
nothing's going to change.
Nothing's going to change.
Yeah, I will back that up with one of the things, and this isn't meant to sound harsh. It isn't meant to trigger anyone. But one thing I've learnt with my group is only a percentage. Generally all the guys fantastic, and I can't knock them at all. But there's a percentage enough that I've noticed it. You probably have this in the group. Someone will say a comment, and I'll think to myself, you had the same comment a year ago, but you've done nothing to change it.
Yeah.
And all the lads have given you good advice. And I'm not saying it's the right advice. And I'm not saying the advice would work. Yeah. But you haven't tried it.
Yeah.
So, and that can be anything. It can be something as simple as, I just feel like I've got no friends.
Yeah.
Yeah? And I'm like, well, when you come to our group, same as your group, it's a brotherhood, a good group of lads. As soon as you walk into one of our walks, there's 30, 40 lads there. Yeah. You've got 30 or 40 new friends. You won't walk up to, I promise you won't walk up to anyone and go, hello, my name's Dave, and they go, don't talk to me. Yeah. They'll welcome you with open arms. Yeah. But if you don't walk up and say, hello, my name is Dave, that's it. You can't expect everyone to think,
it's not just going to fall in your lap, is it?
Who looks like he wants to be on his own, we should all go around knocking his door and introduce yourself. And you've got to, one of the phrases I really like is, you have to participate in your own recovery in any situation. So if you're short of friends, you think, I'm going to put myself out there, or I'm going to join the Mancave, then that's what you got to do. You can't a year later go, I still haven't got any friends. Did you join the Mancave? No. Did you go on a walk? No. Yeah. Did you go anywhere where there's people to introduce yourself? Did you join a forum? No. Well, the best of my knowledge, if I get up every morning, sit in my lounge, and don't touch my phone, and don't answer the door, nothing's going to change.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. And you have to be, and again, like what you now said, it doesn't sound, I don't mean it to sound harsh or anything, but you have to be your own hero in your own story. Yeah. Because no one can do it for you. Yeah. People want to do it for you. They want to help you. Yeah. But the thing is that I learned from my experience, people will show you the tools to use. Yeah. But you've never used those tools before. How do you explain something to someone that you can't even explain to yourself? Someone said to me not so long back, explain your mental health to me simply from someone who doesn't understand it. So I came up with this analogy about an octopus. So my brain is like an octopus, and then you've got one positive thought in the middle, and then the octopus obviously has got 8 arms. All 8 arms reach out and they grab a negative, and they pull that into the middle, and then the octopus squirts its ink. You find the positive in there now. Yeah. It's almost impossible. So this is where you have to start making changes. You have to start celebrating every small win. Yeah. Even if it's something as stupid as you smell bacon cooking in the morning, that's one of your favourite smells. That's a positive for the day. Yeah. When I walk to work every day, I walk past Bradwell Butcher's. So I love the smell of the fresh bread and that in the morning. It's unbelievable. That gets the endorphin. I know it might sound stupid, but that gets the endorphins going.
It's not. That's
any
true.
Little positive that you can put into your day. We always talk about baby steps, one day at a time. But if you start putting positives onto a plate, eventually that positive pile is going to pile up so high that's just going to spill over. Yeah. And that's almost like what your life then becomes. Yeah. Yes, don't get me wrong. We still have shitty days. We still have stinkers of days sometimes. I've seen you post about your bad days sometimes.
I've had some terrible days. Even recently, awesome. Mate, I've had some terrible days.
Awesome that you can still do that, though. Yeah. Because there's no point... This is one of the bad things about, here's me preaching about how bad social media can be when our groups are on social media. Yeah. But, social media, a lot of the time, only shows the positives. Yeah. But if you can still show someone, you still have, like what you were saying earlier about, being the kind of the leader of the group kind of thing. I don't want people to think that my life is fantastic, because my life is far from perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Far from perfect. Yeah. I will always be a work in progress. There is no such thing as a finished article as a human being, because if you're any kind of human being, you're going to learn every day. You're going to grow every day, constantly evolve into...
And fail at things.
Exactly. Exactly. Nobody is perfect. And this is what annoys me about social media, is people only show the good stuff. They don't show the fact, I've got a £1,000 tax bill to pay, or I can't afford my food bill this month, or my car's gone wrong. Yeah.
And you bang on there, mate, because I find, especially with my social media, even normally when new people I add to my social media, I think you're in for a rocky ride. Yeah. But just hang on, it'll be okay. Because exactly that. I'm the first to admit that's one extreme to the other. But I'm a firm believer in if you can't talk about the real crap days and the real shit times, then you're not setting that example like you say.
That's right.
And when you post good stuff, the bad stuff happens. You're only seeing your good stuff, but the bad stuff still happens. You kind of convince yourself that your life should all just be good and should all be rosy. When the truth be told, it isn't.
Yeah, it's almost like toxic positivity, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah, exactly that. And I think if you have a bad day and you put, I throw my toys out my pram and I'm proper like having a bad one, if the next day it turns round, then I think you've got every right to celebrate it. 100%. And think, what a brilliant day. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of leveled out a bit.
And this is what I say to people as well, you know. Everyone says, I'm going to wait till Monday to make changes. Or I'm going to wait till January the 1st. Every second of every day,
you can make a change.
You have a choice.
Yep.
Every second of every day, you've got a choice. You can say, I'm sitting at home, I'm bored. I'm going to get up and I'm just going to go for a walk. Or I'm going to go make myself a sandwich. Or I'm going to do something completely different to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And that is a positive change.
Yeah. Or, like you said, comes back round to that, the negative side of, or if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Yeah.
Because you can just go, which is quite easily to do, well, I'm not going to grow because I ain't got any money.
Yeah.
I need any money to grow.
That's it.
It's another reason why, when we started Walk and Talk, I wanted it to be totally free. Same as your page, there's nothing to pay. I wanted it to be easy access.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to be limited by anything. So, like, the amount of people, I will say, we're lucky that in this town, it's got a really good community feel.
It has, yeah.
So, when I started, I had loads of people inbox me and say, and there's everything from sports halls to pubs to just, office spaces and say, don't be out in the cold. Like, come and have your group meetings here. We don't want anything for it. You more want to use the place, restaurants, all sorts. I said, it's not that. And as much as I really appreciate it, pubs, obviously, goes without saying, it's probably not the best place to go because you guarantee we'll have some of the guys on our walk who might have drink problems and stuff, right? But regardless of that, even all the other places, I said, if you sit down in a group, you can't all sit in a massive circle and one person communicate with the person over there. Yeah. So we'll only communicate with the people next to you. So if you have separate tables, so to tell you exactly what happened, you all sit down, and it's fantastic. You get to talk and everyone's vibing, but you only speak to the 4 people on your table. Right. So on our walks, everyone gels. Yeah. It's a bit like speed dating, but without someone going, change. Literally,
as you're walking down the promenade you get a little bank of 4 people who'll speed up, catch up with the guys next to them.
And they'll just generally
just move off,
And that's
brilliant.
Yeah, that's
really is brilliant.
That is a good, a really good way of, I think, the guys, same as your page, in that you got guys from all different walks of life. Yeah. It's not like, I'm only going to speak to Dave because he supports the same football team. Yeah. It's like, I don't know how you got on your page. I can't say I've ever seen it, but one thing I always thought on ours was we might get that, because that's quite a big thing for men. It always has been in it. Football teams. Yeah. And, you support them. Our team didn't get on with them, but, and again, you'd have to tell me how your group find it. With us, we don't get any, you could get 2 football teams who are arch enemies. Yeah. And one support one and one support the other. You'll find they're walking together talking about football.
To be fair, we have been really lucky with the football fight. That was one of the things that really worried me. Yeah. Is obviously completely male-dominated environment. We'll talk about football. Yeah. And you just get all these. Someone actually said, right, come on, who supports what team? And I'm a Newcastle fan, so I put Newcastle, and everyone's just like, oh my God. Turns out we've done pretty well in the last couple of years. Yeah. But there's, like you've now said though, there's Man United fans chatting with Liverpool fans. Yeah. You get the banter on match days. They'll always talk about it on a Saturday. You get the banter. But yeah, even last night, a guy in the group, he's a massive Arsenal fan. Mark, his name is. He's a lovely guy. He's actually a friend of mine, so we won't mind me mentioning him. But my team beat his team last night in the cup, and he put on the straight up Newcastle were the better team. He knew it, and he's. And that's the kind of banter that it is, though. I said, well, I was going to wait till I see you to rub it in, but since you've brought it up, but that's what it's like. It's just, there's no atmosphere with it at all, which, like I say, I was a little bit nervous about that one. Yeah. Obviously, football is quite a big thing for guys, isn't it?
Yeah, so. Really big thing. That and politics. Yeah. We don't really get too much We didn't get too much of that in the group.
See, it was football and religion were my two biggest
is
ones.
That right? Yeah. The only thing we've had, which is something I'd never expected, I'll be honest with it, is religion's a funny one.
Yeah.
And that's a whole new rabbit hole we could go down. But we've obviously got a couple of guys on the walks who are, I don't know what you'd call them, but I suppose devout Vikings.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they're not religious, but they're into the Viking religion. Yeah. Right? So we've done events and we've done them at the church. I've had a couple of them go, nah, I can't go.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I can't go. I'm like, what are you talking about? You can't go. Can't go into a church. I'll burst into flames. I'm like, we got fire extinguisher, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, honestly, can't. And even now, and I'm not knocking anyone's faith, you know, I'm a firm believer in if you believe in whatever God, yes, you're right.
Yeah,
you crack on. People say you can't prove it. I can't disprove it. So, you know, I'm quite open. If you believe in something, that's great. But I also think maybe you could be a bit more forgiving, but a bit more open to the fact of, like the football thing, just because someone's got a difference of opinion, don't mean to say you can't still gel together, do stuff together, you know. And I will say, one of the guys who did come, who's a Viking, he come and had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And I mean, really enjoyed himself. To the point a few times, and I don't want to get him in any trouble here, but he was talking to the priest while he was doing arts and crafts.
Really?
And he's not the type of person you'd expect to be doing arts and crafts in a church anyway.
Yeah.
But when I went back, because we had a day where we had some volunteers help us build the Angel of Hope. When I went back the next day, he'd been there all day anyway, on his day off. We hadn't been asked. Just because he said, oh, it's such a great time. I thought I'd come back and help today. I see you need some extra guys. So, and that's the whole ethos of, regardless of, you know, I always say in our group, there's no racism. There's no sexism. There's no politics, football, anything that you'd normally disagree with. Yeah. That's all out the window. None of that. You can argue before we start. You can argue when we finish. But for the hour or whatever, we're all together, nothing.
Just goes out the window. Yeah.
Just goes out the window. Yeah. I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like with the religion one for me, I always said, I'll give everyone freedom of speech. You know, like you now said, if someone believes in something, that's up to them.
But there's only one guy.
I will only step in if someone tries to say this is what you've got to believe in.
Yeah.
Because nobody should have that religion pressure and things forced upon them. No, everyone's got the choice. Yeah. Their own freedom of choice.
I agree, mate.
You know, so that's the only time I'll ever turn around and say, look, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
And I'll do that with most things, to be fair. If it's anything ever turns nasty or someone name calling, I mean, I've now upgraded my rules to 0 tolerance on hate speech. I won't have anyone degrading women in any respect, you know. Yeah, we've all been through things with girls, you know, women, things like this.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a subject we'd get onto, but I will just say, hats off to you for that, because, and again, I won't mention no names, but I know there's a couple of people I've seen over time on your page who have obviously, you know, I proper feel for them.
Yeah.
And again, you've only got their side of the story, but from, you know, taking them as gospel, have gone through relationships and have been horrendous.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they've got no reason to lie. We've all been in bad relationships. And if I'm honest, people I've been with in the past will probably tell you they've been in a bad relationship, and it was me. Of course. You know, it's 50-50. But it's hard with your group, because that's a space for people to vent and to talk about things like that. And I think people see other people talking negatively towards women. And like with our group, I say to people all the time, just because we're men only, we're not an anti-women group.
That's it.
100%. If anything, we're pro women.
Yeah.
I said, but men don't open up in front of women. Yeah. So we try not to use that as a space to be derogatory to women. I'm the same in our group. We don't have any of that. I feel for guys who have been through things and have a certain, you know, anger and frustration towards a certain woman.
Yeah.
But in any situation like that, like in the past, totally different, I know, but I've had incidents with the police. it took me a lot to realise that not all policemen are bad.
Yeah.
You know, even when we done the sleep out the other week, we had a guy come over, a policeman, and I was straight away, I was like getting itchy and like, do I say something like, nicest bloke you'd ever meet?
Yeah.
Really supportive.
Yeah.
Even put some money in the charity pot, you know. And you can't knock that. And that was probably a bit of an eye opener for me in that you can't tar everyone with the same brush. And I get with your group, there's so many aspects you don't even think of. You've got to be mindful of. You don't want it to become a group of men who feel that they can come there just to vent and slate women.
Yeah.
But you also need it to be a page where people can, and I've seen you say this a few times, not just with women, but with their own. People say, oh, he's posted on about 10 times the same thing. But that's what the space is for.
Yeah.
Like, if it helps you to vent
that's that person's coping strategy
and putting it on there, and you don't also know how many other people in the shadows are going through the same thing. Like, you see that and think, oh, actually, it's not just me. That can help them.
This is the thing. This is what I go back to and say about personalities, egos, different stages of healing, different stages on the journey.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's massively important. That's massively important to give someone that right to do that.
Yeah.
Because that could just stop them doing something silly that day.
Yeah.
And like you say, somebody else as well might see that, oh, that's just what I needed today.
Yeah.
That's going to get me through today.
Yeah.
And that's not all about, you know, having a plan to get through it. Sometimes,
No.
I mean, I don't call them bad days anymore. I just call them a day.
Days, yeah.
I've had a day today.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
And that is more than enough.
I tell you what, I find is a really good coping mechanism, and it shouldn't be a tit for tat situation, but if I have a really bad day, I don't watch the news or anything like that, read the papers, but if I've had a bad day, I tend to find that I'll either watch the news or I'll take my head space somewhere where I think, well, this happened to so-and-so this week, or this family's gone through this, or, you know, there's people in the hospital who aren't coming out, or, you know, there's been an accident somewhere, or there's people who literally have left that morning and they don't go home that night. And I'm worried about, like you said, a tax bill. I'm worried about, edit that one out, a flat tyre, or, you know, even this week, I've had a few things on my mind, come into work, go all the way to work and thought, oh, I forgot the keys. And straight away you're like, oh, I've got to drive all the way home. And granted, there's, you know, 10, 15 mile or whatever, but in the grand scheme of things, how fortunate am I that I've drove here for one? I haven't had to walk here. And I've got the fuel in the car to drive home, and that isn't going to affect me to drive home and get the keys. I work for myself, so it's not like I'm going to lose my job for being late. Like, and within 5 minutes of thinking positive, I didn't even have to go home, because I was like, oh, one of the guys lives literally 2 minutes up the road. I rang him and went, have you got your keys on? He went, yeah, I'm at home. So I went and got the keys, come in, sorted. Like, that's a very good, I find, coping strategy is when I have a really bad day, is rather than trying not to vent, or because you do get a lot on social media, not so much on your page, but in general. If people have a bad day, that kind of resonates in that. I think some people use a coping strategy of projecting their bad day onto other people. So they think, well, if that person has a worse day than me,
bring everyone down.
Whereas it should be someone give us a hand up. I'm having a bad day, so I'm the same. Like if I see someone broken down on the side of the road, I'll always try and stop, or you know, I'll try and help people. When you see people, does anyone know someone who can hang a door or whatever? Like you think it doesn't take a lot out of your day to help someone, and you can lift them up. It's a lot easier than trying to drag everyone down.
Kindness is free, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
On the flip side to that, though, Mark, one of the things I do find in my group is I didn't say anything because I've read his story and his problems are a lot worse than mine. And my thing, I always have to try and advise people on.
Everyone's problems are valid.
If that problem matters to you, it's massive.
Yeah. If
it's bringing you down, that's obviously an issue.
Yeah.
So no matter what it is, it might be, like you say, you forgot your keys at work today.
Yeah.
That's put a delay on someone's day. That's making their day harder because you're in a situation where you work for yourself.
Yeah.
That person might not. He might be late at work. He might miss a meeting. He might get bollocked for it. You don't know, do you?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, you know, if you've got an issue, it's a problem. It affects you.
Yeah.
And that can be detrimental to your mental health.
Let's be honest, bottling it up don't help.
Bottling it up is just... People have been saying a lot lately in the group, I don't want to be a burden to anyone. I find a burden... I used to be a closed book, mate. I never used to speak
Yeah.
about anything, and that was one of the things that really, I was just a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
And that night, when I took my seatbelt off that night, that was when the fuse had been lit.
Everything changed.
Everything changed, you know, and I immediately after that, as soon as I got into my first counselling session, the floodgates opened. And, you know, I'll sit there and talk to you about it, you know.
Yeah,
if we go out for a coffee and stuff, I'll sit there and talk to you. I tell everybody about it now because I want to show people it's okay.
Yeah.
To talk, you know, talk and save lives. Talk and save my life, definitely.
Yeah.
Because if I'd have kept bottling it up, mate, I wouldn't be sitting here with you now.
Yeah.
There's no way.
The problem with bottling it up, mate, as well is you, the only person giving you advice then is yourself.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we give ourselves the wrong advice, but we don't listen to our own advice. I had this conversation with someone today and said, you can have a room with 20 men and 19 of them will all give really good advice. And the other guy will probably give great advice to everyone else, but to himself, he won't take his own advice. That's completely
irrational advice. When you've got, this is what I said about the octopus thing.
Yeah.
If you've got all those negatives going round, you can't make sense of it. So if you can talk about it, if you can write all those thoughts in your head down on a piece of paper, your brain actively works better if everything's in a list.
Yeah.
So you can then pinpoint, right, that's the most important one on my list that I need to work on first. That's one of the legs of the octopus being chopped off. So that's one negative gone straight away. And if you can keep finding those coping strategies like talking, writing things down, you know, sharing it with somebody.
Yeah.
Even down to the silly thing where you write everything down and then you burn the page.
Yeah,
so it's almost like that problem's gone. It's so effective.
Yeah, yeah. The other one a lot of people I know uses is write down, and I've heard this so many times, is write down all the problems and all your worries.
Yeah.
And then just concentrate on the ones that you can change.
Yeah.
The ones that you can't change, don't worry about it.
I do with any bad situation I'm going through, I'll write the list. Yeah. And then I'll put physically get a black Sharpie pen. And then, am I allowed to say Sharpie, or is there other black marker brands available?
We're not sponsored by Sharpie.
That's all right then.
Yeah, are you?
But yeah, I write the list down, and then I literally, the thickest black marker pen I can find, I put the cross through all the ones I can't control. My brain has my eyes have seen that happen.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like it memory dumps.
Yeah.
I then only look at the pieces that I can control.
I'll tell you another good one. I don't know if you've ever. So over the years, I've followed quite a lot of famous people, but who again are advocates of mental health and you know, people who you'd, I suppose the phrase made it would you know, but and come through from hard times. So a typical one that comes to mind, Steve Harvey, comedian in the States, really good chap, and watched loads of his stuff. It's inspiring, read his books, and one of the things he says is, which actually made me do it, is start a mood board.
Yeah.
And I thought, men didn't do mood boards. And in his videos, he's like, put whatever you want on it. Literally, nothing's off limits. If you think to yourself, I want a jumbo jet, and I'd love to have a jumbo jet, put it on there. He said, you need to start, they call it manifesting, but just thinking rather than thinking the negative. And I was using an analogy, if you put a black sack of rubbish outside your front door and leave it, I guarantee by the end of the week there'll be another one there. And by the end of the second week, there'll be a third one there.
Yeah.
But if you cut all the grass outside the front of your house and do all the weeds and tidy up the curb, the bit that isn't yours but it's out the front of yours, within a week or two, your next door neighbour's done the same.
Yeah.
And everything's gone, is uplifted.
Yeah.
And I remember doing a mood board, and I can't, off the top of my head, remember all the things on there. And I don't think I looked at it for a year, but I knew the things that were on there, and I want to do this, and I want to take the kids here on holiday, and, you know, we want to get married, and, you know, we want to buy a nice house, and all these bits. And it's shocking when you look back at that mood board and think, well, actually, I can cross that one off because I've done it. Yeah. I can cross that one off because I've done it. And I've crossed that, like, again, a list, but in a more positive way of not a list of all your worries. And some of them, I'll be honest with you, way off the chart.
Yeah, yeah.
But where they seemed impossible before, even now, you're like, well, actually, that's not that far out of reach. Like, that's achievable.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it gives you good motivation.
Definitely. See, I use the accountability mirror. Have you ever heard that one?
No.
A guy called David Goggins.
Oh, David Goggins, yeah.
And he in his first book,
He's
you can't hurt. The guy's a machine. I swear he's not human. But he, in his first book, that's called You Can't Hurt Me, he talks about the accountability mirror. before he joined the Marines, he was well overweight, you know,
Yeah,
things
yeah,
like
I've
this.
seen
But
pics of him,
he
yeah.
put all these post-it notes of all the things in his life that he's accountable for, and he worked on every single one of them until he achieves them. And then you rip the post-it note off.
Is that right? Yeah.
And it's honestly, it's so simple. But every morning when you get dressed in front of that mirror, or if you're, you know, going out in the evening, just check your accountabilities before you go out.
I'd have that many post-it notes, so many mirror left.
Yeah, see your reflection. But no, that's the thing, because you're always looking at the person who's accountable for those things on the post-it notes.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
I like that.
psychologically, it changes things.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
But no, there's lots of different things, and this is one of the things that I wanted to do. You know, I always wanted to share my survival guide.
Yeah.
I built up quite an intense. I changed a hell of a lot about myself, mate. If you'd have known me back in 2016, I was completely different to what I am now. And over the last few years, I have literally no one could beat me up the way I've beaten myself up.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. And I know full well that what works for one might not work for somebody else, but like what you said earlier, unless you've tried different things, you're never going to know.
Yeah.
So that was why I wanted to put my survival guide out there, and all these other guys are given bits of their survival guide.
Yeah.
That might just make one man a survival guide with all these little different bits.
Yeah.
If he's willing to give it a try, take it on board. Oh yeah, that actually works for me.
Yeah.
He's got a little tick in the box, and that can save lives.
Sounds like you need to be writing a book.
Mate, I wish I could.
It's not that hard, mate. It's not that hard. I'd help you do a book. That'd be good. Yeah. Stu Burman's
It's memoirs.
But literally could be Stu Burman's survival guide. Do you know what I mean?
Could be.
The Mancave.
It's quite when like what you know said though about you know your mood board. When you look back, I look back say 8-9 years. The things that have changed.
Yeah.
That I would never sit here now and think, do you know what? I'd have never achieved that in my life.
Yeah. Or never attempted some stuff. Even
Scary,
simple
mate.
stuff.
Scary.
Simple stuff.
What a negative situation has created for me to be able to give other people as well now as a massive positive. I will sit here right now and I will say I am truly, truly grateful for every bad thing that's ever happened to me, because it's made me who I am today.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm no saint, I'm no hero, nothing like this, but
without it, that group
I am so grateful and thankful. I actually feel blessed for having that bad crap happen to me.
Yeah.
Because it's helped others.
Yeah.
It's helped me.
I know we use a lot of sayings, and it's weird how they can resonate with you and things stick. But one of the ones I saw a good long while ago, but I really, really liked is, and I use it all the time, is sometimes when we think we're being buried, we're actually being planted.
Yeah.
And you think something is that terrible and bad, and it's the end, and you're out.
Yeah.
But you don't realise you're actually just being prepared for your comeback story.
Definitely. There's so. One of the things I like, one of the phrases I always found really well, if a photographer can't capture the picture, changes his focus.
Yeah.
And that's a lot about life. If life's not going how you want it to go,
you got to change
look at it differently.
Yeah.
There's always a positive way. There's a positive in every negative. I had a guy not so long back in the group, I'll quickly tell you this one, and he was saying, I said something very similar, there's a positive in every negative. He was telling me about how his wife had cheated on him, emptied their bank accounts, done all this, done all that, loads of stuff. And he was destroyed, absolutely destroyed. And I said to him, take the positive out of this, mate. And he's like, what? And he got really, really arsey with me.
Yeah.
What positive could there possibly be? Are you not listening to anything I've said? And I just went, take the positive. And he went, what bloody positive? You're not her. You'd never treat anyone like that. And I know this guy.
Yeah.
You'd never treat anyone like that. And he sat back and tears just street. And he was just like, do you know what? You're right. And he then literally just had a completely different outlook to the evening.
Yeah. I'm
not her. I'd never do that to somebody.
Yeah.
And since then, I mean, this was well over a year ago now.
Yeah.
But he's completely changed his life.
Yeah.
Completely changed his life. Because this is something else I tell the guys in the group as well, the ones who are struggling with women and things like this. Sometimes you just have to look and just say, some people in this life are sent to show us what love isn't.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You don't need to go any further into it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you either get, you know, a lesson.
Yeah.
Or you can look at it as a really negative.
Yeah. And even not just relationships with women, but I found even friendships and jobs and all sorts of stuff. Some stuff comes to an end.
All sorts of stuff. Yeah.
And I watched a video. I had a similar scenario actually happen to me. Not with there was a friendship, not relationship. And we'd been together for years, and really close. And I happened to be, as you are, in the bath or whatever, scrolling on Facebook, and a video popped up there, and that was like a guy in America doing a speech, you know, in front of thousands of people. And he said, on there, you know, some people are like boosters on a rocket.
Yeah.
You know, they're meant to take you so far, but then they have to drop off. I don't mean they're bad people, and I don't mean they're just not going to the atmospheres that you're going to, you know.
Yeah,
and you
things run their course, don't they?
Things run their course, and sometimes people's paths change, and sometimes they can hook up again. Like, you just have to keep pushing on your own journey, and
that is the thing. That is the nail on the head. This journey is yours.
Yeah.
You know, nobody can do it for you, but you have to trust the process. I say
the process,
that a lot of the time.
It's a good
do
one.
it for you, your way, in your own time.
Yeah.
You know, because it's lovely to have people in your life. Don't get me wrong. I would never change the people in my life. But again, go back to the accountability mirror.
Yeah.
You strip everybody out of your life. You strip your missus, your kids, your friends, your employees.
You're still left
all this.
with yourself.
The only person you're left with till the day you die is the person who's looking back at you in that mirror.
Yeah.
And that's the person you need to be happy to be able to be happy with everything else that you've got in life.
Yeah.
Because if you're not happy in yourself, you're not going to be happy in anything.
No.
And that's one of the the things I learn is to love myself, respect myself, believe in myself.
And if you don't, change yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
Massive, mate. Massive, that. Yeah. I can honestly say, I think I talked about it on one of the previous podcasts. For me personally, I think one of the biggest positives I've got out of doing anything mental health-wise with a group is seeing the guys who come to the group broken, and then a few months later, and like you said, you've had that talk with them one-to-one where they're like, no, I'm done. And that's not the cry for help. That's not the I'm just making conversation. That is generally they're at rock bottom and they want a cash of chips out. They're done. Yeah. And you not talk them around and think to yourself, oh, I've done really well. Because it's not just that talk. Like you said, with the guy you helped that time. That's just getting them to hang on to continue a few more days or a week or a month, and to see the fact that things can change for the better. And no matter how bad, like you said with the other guy, no matter how bad it gets, I think we all realise that we all come from nothing. Yeah. When you come into the world, you come with literally not anything. Yeah. So if you get put hard reset back to square one, you can still carry on. Definitely. You can still grow. You can still learn. You can still have a fantastic life. You've got to just push through and continue. And when you see that in the group, like you said, a year later, you see someone and see how far they've come. That, I think, is the biggest reward for me personally. Yeah. Definitely, without a doubt.
I think engineer mindset kicks in for me, that anything that's broken can be fixed.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, there's ways to fix everything. Yeah. And even what comes across as the hardest, most difficult, black, dark, lonely time of your life. Yeah. I've been there, mate. Yeah. I have literally been there. And if I can come through it,
anyone can.
Anyone can.
Yeah.
It's doable. It's bloody hard. It's the hardest fight of my life. But I did it.
Yeah. And come out the other side, mate.
And come out the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I've got to say, mate, I don't want to get you too emotional. We haven't had anyone cry on the podcast yet. So, if you start, I might start. But no. Hand on heart, mate, I'm proud of you. Really proud of you.
Cheers, mate.
And
I am
sure
you too. I've got nothing but good things to say about you, mate.
Yeah,
anybody, or
who says otherwise are liars.
Everyone talks about your group. I'm proud to say that me and you are friends. And,
close friends, mate. Close friends. And I think I don't want to speak for everyone, but I will speak for everyone in your group especially, and say they probably all think exactly the same. And I've seen so many posts on there from people saying, blah, 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 blah. I've got to say thank you for Stu setting the group up, because without that, they have got literally nowhere to go. I'm not saying it's the only group on Facebook, but you can see by how well it's grown and how positive it is. Everything has blips, like you say, and I'm sure there's other groups out there who have gone through similar and continued on. And I've even noticed the last couple of days it's really calmed down.
Yeah.
And I think people have got not more in line, but they're more compassionate and thinking, well, actually, it's easy to jump on the negative wagon when there's 2 or 3 people already riding on
That's it.
But again, it's that bag of rubbish. Once you've got rid of that one bag of rubbish and tidied your garden, everybody else...
Well, the thing is, with growth comes strength, doesn't it?
Does, yeah.
Unity, that kind of thing. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I've said again, it's different stages of people's processes. They're new to this at the moment, so you don't know what they're going through. No. They're still learning about the new guys.
Like you said, you don't know what part of their journey
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think we're all guilty of the fact of assuming that they're at the same part of the journey as what we're at. So we automatically assume that they should be on the same questions and not on the same, not posting the negative stuff. Whereas some people literally, this for a fact, mate, as well as I do, some people will join your group within hours of going through something traumatic. And that's when you're in that stage of, whether it be grief or whether it be anger or all them emotions. And if that's an outlet, you're gonna unfortunately, like you said, I'll take my hat off to you because I remember seeing you posting thinking, I don't know if I'd have done it like that. But when I sat down and thought about it, you're bang on. You've got to give people the freedom of speech. Yeah. And if people don't like it, they have the option to scroll by. Yeah, definitely. But you can't silence and strangle the people who are desperately trying to scream. Will. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't, no. And this is I think it was you who actually said about it, you can't change the whole ethos of your group for one person. No. And I wouldn't do that. No. Because, and this is the other thing as well, like, I get so many women try to join the group, and it's so difficult. I actually had a lady the other day who started an argument with me because, come on, mate, I know men, I work with men, I want to look. If I let one woman in the group, I'm going to lose the trust. I've had women say, "Can they come on the group if they dress as a man?" Yeah. No.
This is and it's so difficult. I mean,
it just doesn't work. It's not.
That trust that you build up is so important, especially where, like I say, with this stigma as well. Yeah. And I'd never break that. Never ever break that.
Just turning towards the end of the podcast into a bit of a positive. Don't know if you know this funny story. So when we kind of went from about 1,500 to a couple of thousand followers at the time. We'd put something had happened with the algorithms or something on Facebook in that somehow sent an invite to join our group. Right. But to everyone, it was something like everyone who was already in the group automatically sent like an invite to all their friends list. Right. Yeah. So all of a sudden, again, we went from, I don't know what it was, say 2,000, and you could literally watch the numbers climb. Yeah. But then there was Debbie commenting and Sandra. I'm like, where all these women come from? Wow. I remember going on there and thinking somehow it automatically sent, because obviously if you send an invite to someone, they just have to accept. Yeah. So now I was going through, and that was like a battle. I was like, oh, I've got 2,000 people, they're all men. And then I'd go 2,300, I'd be like, oh, there must be, so I'd go through it again, delete the women. And then you get inboxes, well, you invited me to the group, and then I got booted. I'm like, and then you're getting comments, and that was one of them moments, like when you've had it last week of everything, I was like, maybe I'll just, it's easy to just pull the plug and turn it off. Yeah, yeah. But we didn't, we battled through it. And
yeah, you have to, don't you? That's the thing.
I've had them conversations with a lot of women, and I get it. It can come across and seem like we're alienating them, if you like. Yeah. But it's not that at all. You know yourself, same as your group. And it's not like that in the group. That is generally just men just open up to, they only now are starting to open up to other men. But, when we started, I'm sure when you started, it's really difficult even just that one-to-one conversation with some guys, because they wouldn't want to, say anything or... Now it's getting a little bit it's getting a lot easier, I'll be honest. But, I think if we had a lot of women in the group, that wouldn't be as easy. I remember I had one woman message me and say, this might come across wrong, but it is. I had a woman message me, and she really genuinely meant well. And she said she was, I think, a mental health professional, and she'd done spent years doing research into men's mental health and stuff. And she'd like to offer me, help, support. It's fantastic. I said, but obviously I can't have you on the page. You're more than welcome. Like I said, a lot of people, you're more than welcome to. You can be on our page. We don't have women on the walk, but I said as a vital part of our page to have you on there. I said because a lot of guys who come to us, especially, their missus had sent them, or encouraged them to come. And she said, no, you need to delete all the women from your page. I said, why is that? She said, well, I've done the research over the years, and it's proven fact, obviously that men won't talk or open up in front of women. So if women are on the page, men won't open up. But the page isn't for that. The page is 100% to keep people up to date with when our events are. Yeah. For people to share ideas, and for people to help promote us to the masses, so you can share our posts and stuff. Whereas if it's in that group, you can't. Luckily for you, obviously you used, which is a brilliant method of joining other groups and putting, your blurb in and putting your picture and saying, if any guys want to join, this is what we're about, blah, blah, which seems to work fantastic. Said, but she was adamant 100% you need to delete all women. So you do realise that you're one of the women you're talking about. What do you mean? Well, if I deleted all women, you'd be gone. Like, you wouldn't be able to comment, so you wouldn't be able to help or support. Do you know what I mean? And that was one of them, realisation moments of, fair point. I said, and I've found, for our group anyway, that works. And luckily here we are, 18 months on, and that is working. Mate. But we haven't had anyone turn up in fancy dress yet, so thankfully. But so, I've already said thank you, Stu, for coming on. In that case, thanks, Stu, for coming on.
No worries,
really
mate.
appreciate it. As you can see,
appreciate it, mate.
Very professional here, and we tried to stay on script. Before we obviously sign out, could you just tell us how's the best way for guys to find you? Facebook?
Yeah, obviously on Facebook. It's all on there, so you can either follow myself, which is Stu Burman, on Facebook, or just search the Mancave.
Yep.
I think you said you're going to put the logo and stuff on, didn't
we'll
you?
Put the logo in the screen here somewhere.
Yeah. That's fine.
And maybe with a link, maybe like a drop-down thing, like up here, over here. Obviously, he does all the editing, so just make it as easy as possible.
Definitely. Appreciate
maybe
it.
like a little scroll on video, blurb. That's cool. I will also obviously put a link on this actual podcast.
Yeah.
It's gone on quite long, so this will probably be... Well, that's gone on quite long, hasn't it? We'll probably chop this up into 2 or 3 episodes, which would be great. So that'd be cool. And we'll have a link so people know where to find you and to join onto your page. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and definitely subscribe. Helps the page grow. Share. Send it to whoever you like. Get them to watch it. I think that's about it, isn't it? Just got one last... we like to end on a positive. So we're going to go to Stu for Stu's final thought.
My final thought.
Your final thought. It can be words of wisdom. It can be anything you like, really. But
I will always say to anyone who's going through dark times, talk. I never did until it was almost too late. If you've got stuff on your mind, talk about it. Talk about it with anybody who'll listen.
Yep.
Even if it's sitting next to someone on a bus journey or something.
Talk. Anyone. Yeah.
Get it out of your head. Even if you have to write it down and read it back to yourself, that's a form of talking it out.
Yeah.
So don't ever suffer alone. Don't ever suffer in silence. And things can definitely get better.
And no matter where you are in the world watching this, 100% join the Mancave on Facebook. Because at the minute you're running at 6,000 people, but eventually someone will be watching this podcast and go, "God, that's old. They got 60,000 people on there." But even 6,000 people in this day and age, again, you know yourself, is good numbers.
Definitely. I mean, even if people don't want to join, one massive thing for me is as long as somebody knows it's there, if they ever need it. The same with your group. If you ever feel like you want to go for a walk with somebody, you can hit you guys up.
Yeah, so anytime,
you don't have to go every week.
No, you don't. No. I always say to a lot of people with us, we're not subscription based.
No.
If you don't come one week, it doesn't mean to say you can't come to the next one.
Exactly.
Just drop in and out as and when you need us.
Exactly.
And even if you don't need us and you want to just go for a walk, come along as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Well, thanks ever so much, Stu. Really
Thanks, mate.
appreciate you
Appreciate
coming in,
it.
buddy. Cheers.